There's a lot of information out there about preventative measures and the precautions we all should be taking during the coronavirus outbreak here in the state of Ohio. So to help clear up some of the questions that a lot of you have out there, we have senior infection preventionist Liz DeHaan joining us from Ohio Health. First off, thank you so much for joining me and Don Bryant sitting in as well. I think the top question that a lot of people are saying that they have right now is they want to know how long the virus can actually stay airborne. If somebody is infected with it, if they cough, sneeze in an area, at this point we're hearing just talking can put some particles in the air. How long is it actually in the air where we can contract it?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to start by saying thank you to Don and yourself, Brian, for inviting me to join you today. That's a loaded question, what you just asked me, because there are a lot of different conditions that can contribute to the answer of that question. First of all, we're talking about an airborne or lives or can travel in the air organism. So a lot of it has to do with spacing, distance, and contact. You separate each other, let's say 6 feet, then the reasonability of the risk for contact would diminish. It would be less. So therefore, if we're looking at a home setting where you're used to living with your family and your partners and whatever, you tend to be close and you don't even pay attention to it. And that's a common daily practice. When we're looking at what's going on right now in the community, the social distancing is to avoid having that, what we call intimate contact. 3 feet or closer is considered intimate contact in healthcare.
Now, what are some mainstream myths about preventative measures that you're hearing right now?
Well, essential oils aren't going to do anything for you. I'm sorry.
That's going to break my wife's heart. She's been giving me all sorts of stuff.
I'm breaking a lot of hearts with that one. Myths, it's easier to tell you what to do to prevent or minimize the risk. So wash your hands in soap and water. And soap and water is a good deal. I understand hand sanitizer is at a premium, but it's a good bar of soap is rather inexpensive. And if you're at home, that's what you need.
So it's clear that the virus cannot survive in soap.
No, because it's the friction of washing your hands is what will kill the virus. You're breaking the biologic envelope that it lives in.
Now, just running your hands underwater is not going to do anything. You have to use soap. Is that correct?
The soap is an emollient that keeps your hands soft, and it prevents chafing and your skin damage. So, but it's the friction of the hands, which is why you do the 20-second hand wash in order to kill the virus.
Now, Liz, we've been learning about the virus together. Obviously, it seems like the facts and information are a lot different now than what they were 3-4 weeks ago. What would you say is the top misconception that we thought at one point that has now changed and we know is not true about the coronavirus?
The top misconception is, I think, is the length of time that it can be transmitted, or how soon can you become infected, or how long it is before you become infected. I think we were cruising right along over the 7 to 14 day infectivity period, or the time before you came in contact and got ill. We are seeing now that depending on a person's basic state of health, that can be really a shortened amount of time to days. So it really depends on what you personally, what your personal level of health is. There are times also that we're not seeing symptoms at all. People can be carriers and not show any signs. So therefore, that's what's making this virus such a challenge and such a healthcare concern.
Given that Ohio was the first to shut down mass gatherings, are we doing better than most places in the country, in your opinion, to flatten the curve against coronavirus spread?
I will give a great shout out to Ohio right now. I just recently saw a model, and I don't know how people feel about this, but it was a tracking that was done on personal cell phones. it showed that the Great Lakes region, the sheltering in place has been taken seriously. With that said, with what we're learning and what's happened in other densely populated regions of the country, we've not seen that giant surge yet, if you will, of a lot of illness throughout the state. What we are feeling and sensing is that in cities where there's denser population, they're seeing more virus.
So given what you just said, are you expecting Ohio Health facilities here in Richland County and maybe specifically Mansfield and Shelby to at some point have a mass flood of patients come in that are going to need help? Is that what you guys are preparing for right now?
Mansfield and Shelby together are preparing for the impact on Richland County and also the surrounding counties that we serve, that we provide health services for. We're doing the same thing that you're reading on national news and looking at what our foundational supply availability is. We're assessing how many critical beds we can provide. We're looking at how many ventilators we have access to. We're looking at how much frontline staff do we have, how many medical support personnel do we have. So all of those things that are required to take care of patients is under consideration.
I think what's really tricky for a lot of people to comprehend, and even myself, is somebody that's asymptomatic. I mean, we get if you cough or you sneeze in an area and you have COVID-19 that you're going to be putting these virus particles in the air. If you are just speaking, breathing, is it still possible to infect somebody that is in contact with you or within a range of you, within the 6 feet?
We're getting information that indeed is validating that and is saying just having a normal conversation can be a risk factor. But I also want to say that we have to exercise caution when we make those statements, because I'll bring us back to the 3 feet contact. You have to be within contact of being where those droplets are, that you're going to breathe them in. For example, if someone sneezes on you, you know that they sneezed on you. You have a friend that does that classic cough out or laugh out loud, and there's a little bit of stuff flying in the air. That is what you need to be aware of. And so that's everyday living that we could just tear down and take down to the 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. That makes this scary and needlessly stressful.
In a recent press conference, President Trump said that this would be a peak week here in the United States, that there will be death, death. Dr. Action here in Ohio said that we may not experience the peak week this week, but rather maybe later in May or June. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do, and that has everything to do with the social distancing directive that has gone out. And if you note, Governor DeWine was the first governor that enacted the social distancing parameters. So therefore, that graph that we're all very familiar with on flattening the peak, that's where we're at right now. We are going to see more deaths, and if anyone's tracking the numbers on the news, the positive tests are reflective of where the virus is. The part to pay attention to will be the deaths and those people that will have less than positive outcomes because of the illness.
Liz, thank you so much for your time. A lot of great information. Before we let you get out of here, just one last question. What's your top tip that you would give to every Ohioan right now? How can we boost our immunity so that, number one, it can help us from preventing getting the COVID, and if we do get it, that we're in a better position to defeat it?
Please, number one, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands at all times. Cover your cough. Carry that Kleenex with you. If you have access to a face mask, use it. Also, social distancing. I cannot reinforce that enough. It's painful right now. It's painful to everybody that you talk to. It's painful to everyone you know. But having this interview is a case in point. People who didn't know how to FaceTime before or didn't know how to Zoom or whatever, we're all learning that. This is a good way to stay in contact. And if you can do something for the elderly or take advantage of someone running to the store and dropping that bag and hanging it on your doorknob, and so that avoids you or keeps you from going to the grocery store, optimize that network to maintain that social distancing.
All right, Liz, thank you so much for that tip and
Thank
for all
you.
the information. The Senior Infection Preventionist for Ohio Health. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, gentlemen, as well. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Well, Donnie, obviously there's a whole lot to digest there from what Liz just told us. But I think if there's one overarching theme, it's just social distancing. And I can just speak for myself and how we're practicing it at my home. My kids really aren't leaving the house with the exception of get outside, go to the park. My wife here, who is helping us out, is our camera person. So I'm really just seeing those three people and yourself.
Well, I am seeing myself and my dad. So it's two people, and then there's you. So I know that we're taking social distancing very seriously. I visit my parents maybe once a week. I'm not even in contact with my own mother. So it's really three people that I'm around. And so I think it's best that people do take this advice, what our public authorities, what they're saying. Social distancing is the key moving forward. People are dying from COVID. We need to do what we can to get the word out that social distancing is critical.
And if I could give a shout out to the people here of Mansfield, I feel like that is the case.
I think so.
I've seen a lot of people out walking in the park, but we're keeping our distance from one
Absolutely.
another. Nobody's inviting me over. Matter of fact, I had a whole rash of people that had birthdays about last week, and I said,
Right.
"You want me to stop by and say what's up?" And to their credit, they were like, "No, not right now, man. We're laying low. We're taking this very seriously." So I think kudos to the population here in our
Absolutely.
area doing a good job.
And in fact, you had your 35th.
I
What
did.
was it, last week?
I'm presidential now, Donnie, and for my birthday, kicked it at home. With the family, didn't do anything. Used Zoom, utilized the FaceTime as well to talk to people. So with the technology that we have, there is no excuse for practicing social distancing. I feel like we're doing a pretty good job here in our area.
So I turned 35 as well in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to being by myself. But if it's going to save lives, that's what matters.
Zoom party, baby.
But we can't touch.
Oh.
Hey.
Not even the Corona bump? Is that out loud now?
No, sir.
We'll go next level. I'll get some Germ-X on there. Sorry, Donnie.
Hey.
Till next time.